Cannery Row, Chapter 15, Part 1 of Chapter 15. By the time the boys got up to the farmhouse, Mac was in the kitchen. The pointer bitch lay on her side, and Mac held a cloth saturated with Epsom salts against her tick bite. Among her legs, the big fat wiener pups nuzzled and bumped for milk, and the bitch looked patiently up into Mac's face, saying, "You see how it is? I try to tell him, but he doesn't understand." The captain held a lamp and looked down on Mac. "I'm glad to know about that," he said. Mac said, "I don't want to tell you about your business, sir, but these pups ought to be weaned. She ain't got a hell of a lot of milk left, and them pups are chewing her to pieces." "I know," said the captain. "I suppose I should have drowned them all but one. I've been so busy trying to keep the place going. People don't take the interest in bird dogs they used to. It's all poodles and boxers and Dobermans." "I know," said Mac, "and there ain't no dog like a pointer for a man. I don't know what's come over people, but you wouldn't have drowned them, would you, sir?" "Well," said the captain, "since my wife went into politics, I'm just running crazy. She got elected to the assembly for this district, and when the legislature isn't in session, she's off making speeches. And when she's home, she's studying all the time and writing bills." "Must be lousy it must be pretty lonely," said Mac. "Now, if I had a pup like this," he picked up a squirming fuzz-faced pup, "why, I bet I'd have a real bird dog in 3 years. I'd take a bitch every time." "Would you like to have one?" the captain asked. Mac looked up. "You mean you'd let me have one?" "Oh, Jesus Christ, yes!" "Take your pick," said the captain. "Nobody seems to understand bird dogs anymore." The boys stood in the kitchen and gathered quick impressions. It was obvious that the wife was away. The opened cans, the frying pan with lace from fried eggs still sticking to it, the crumbs on the kitchen table, the open box of shotgun shells on the bread box all shrieked of the lack of a woman, while the white curtains and the papers on the dish shelves and the 2 small towels on the rack told them a woman had been there, and they were unconsciously glad to see that she wasn't there. The kind of women who put papers on shelves and had little towels like that instinctively distrusted and disliked Mac and the boys. Such women knew that they were the worst threats to a home, for they offered ease and thought and companionship as opposed to neatness, order, and properness. They were very glad to see that she was away. Now the captain seemed to feel that they were doing him a favor. He didn't want them to leave. He said hesitantly, "Suppose you boys would like a little something to warm you up before you go out for frogs?" The others looked at Mac. Mac was frowning as though he was thinking it through. "When we're out doing scientific stuff, we make it a kind of rule not to touch nothing," he said, and then quickly, as though he might have gone too far, "but seeing as how you've been so nice to us, well, I wouldn't mind a short one myself. I don't know about the boys." The boys agreed that they wouldn't mind a short one either. The captain got a flashlight and went down in the cellar. They could hear him moving lumber and boxes about, and he came back upstairs with a 5-gallon oak keg in his arms. He set it on the table. "During Prohibition, I got some corn whiskey and laid it away. I just got to thinking I'd like to see how it is. It's pretty old now. I'd almost forgot it. You see, my wife—" He let it go at that because it was apparent that they understood. The captain knocked out the oak plug from the end of the keg and got glasses down from the shelf that had scallop-edged paper laid on it. It is a hard job to pour a small drink from a 5-gallon keg. Each of them got half a water glass of clear brown liquor. They waited ceremoniously for the captain, and then they said, "Over the river," and tossed it back. They swallowed, tasted their tongues, sucked their lips, and there was a faraway look in their eyes. Mac peered into his empty glass as though some holy message were written in the bottom, and then he raised his eyes. "You can't say nothing about that," he said. "They don't put that in bottles." He breathed in deeply and sucked his breath as it came out. "I don't think I ever tasted nothing as good as that," he said. The captain looked pleased. His glance wandered back to the keg. "It is good," he said. "You think we might have another little one?" Mac stared into his glass again. "Maybe a short one," he agreed. "Wouldn't it be easier to pour out some in a pitcher? You're liable to spill it that way." 2 hours later, they recalled what they had come for.